So you work with veterans, correct?
Yes.
So could you tell us a little bit about your corporation?
I created Vendavel Corporation for the reason to have developments that give back to the community, but mostly veterans. I'm 100% service-connected disabled veteran, and so a lot of the issues that we have at the VA are because of the red tape, because of the large sum of veterans that come for assistance, and it's sometimes overwhelming to an employee sitting at a desk having 10 or 20 veterans in front of them demanding, their benefits to be done with. So I understand that. So what I did is I reached out to a lot of nonprofit veteran organizations and private organizations that support veterans. We've come together. So during the project idea, I decided to add a community center in there that will house, and so far I have a commitment from over 30 nonprofits that will be working in there with a service veteran officer, long hours, 7 days a week possibly, to answer a lot of questions, to help them with their process through the VA. And I know that veterans, they come back, they're discharged from the military, and they're kind of a little bit misguided on how the private sector works. So having a service veteran officer over there maybe could help them with the transition, with the counseling, with their benefits, with paperwork. I have some organizations that will give clothing for interviews, furniture for their apartments. So there's a lot of benefits to have a veteran living at our project. They can benefit from the programs, and it's permanent housing. It's not transition housing, so they get a roof over their head, and they hopefully will be successful in their day-to-day life.
And a lot of the veterans you're working with are homeless.
A tremendous amount of veterans that come for us are homeless.
Why are they disproportionately homeless?
So I would say that most of it has to do with dependency on sometimes, unfortunately, alcohol or narcotics, and they do have programs that they could fall under and get counseling and help, but sometimes they fall through the cracks and the motivation is not there because they're not attached any longer to their brothers and sisters in the military on a day-to-day, and they have to fence for their own selves, they have to look for jobs, they have to look for housing, and it gets overwhelming on them, and sometimes they're a little bit less than, normal, and they need that. And, yes. And believe it or not, most of them have income because of their disabilities. So they have the benefits, they have everything, but they don't know how to get it. And so they need a little bit help. They don't need a handout, they need a hand up. And so that's what we're trying to do, to make sure that they're successful by just giving them what they already have, helping them in the process.
And
it's very simple.
Your organization is a hub that donates to
yes.
nonprofits to help us.
So for the last 10 years, we've raised a lot of money, and we've given to organizations that are the nonprofits that I will team up with, and they've spent it wisely on veterans that needed it the most. But it gets harder and harder every year to raise more money and to ask for handouts. Mm-hmm. So I decided that Vendavel would be a corporation that was for-profit, that made money and could put back into the programs and be the sponsor of most of the, or not all of the nonprofits that work there.
Excellent.
So it's
now,
recycled.
Back to real estate, though.
Yes.
In order to do some of the things that you're doing, you're dealing with land, right?
Absolutely. So land ownership is easy, but it's not so easy if you don't know the ins and outs of zoning, for example, building what you need to do, the city negotiations, and getting the money to properly do it. For the first 2 years, I've been trying to do this for 5 years. The first 2 years were the most difficult one because I didn't have a property. I couldn't find one, I couldn't afford one, and I was looking in the wrong places. Until I got the education, I started to look at military installations and programs and what I could do. I found the land, we bought the land, we increased the size of the land, and then I found out it's not zoned properly. So now we're going through the planning, and now this is my almost 3 years doing this.
But would you say that land is still a good investment?
It's an excellent investment. Can't go wrong. Land values never went down. It's always went up. Anything real estate, really. You guys are definitely the right group.
As they say, they're not making any of it anymore. So
no, they're not. Yeah. So and the area that we're building in is developed. It's not in the middle of nowhere. So around it, there's a lot of commercial, a lot of residential. We have a senior community diagonally across the street. The Riverside Medical Facility is literally a block away. There's horse trails, there's gas stations, car dealerships, Walmart, Target. It's all around us, within less than a mile radius.
Thank you, Dave. Just real quickly, how can we help you?
We have decided to go the debt route. So we're not taking money from state, we're not taking money from the federal government. We're not looking yet for tax incentives or anything outside
You
debt.
want control, that's why
So,
you're not a
yes.
nonprofit.
So the property was 100% paid for, and we leveraged it to borrow money to get to where we are today. And we're hoping in the next week or two, we borrow a little bit more money so we can go to the next level. But yes.
So you started out with private money and you worked your way
It's
up,
still-
and now you're going for.
So private
development money
investors,
with an
development,
institutional
absolutely. So we're not at the institutional level yet. We have to get our entitlements complete. So if you have a land and you're gonna be developing it, there's a level you have to get to. Institution helps you out. Private, yeah, so private, extremely expensive, but works for you.
So what you've been through, you can teach us a course on all that.
Absolutely, and
absolutely.
Marie's been very instrumental of helping me out, and so we're hoping that it's just a matter of a few more months and we'll be set.